Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Alinga Sise of Urban Harvest Organic Farm, and this is Alinga Sise Lifestyle. For all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I am so grateful. And for those who are still new, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you never miss out any upload. Share this video, comment in the comment section down below, and I will be so grateful. Guys, let us make this channel to reach 1K subscribers, and I will be so grateful. Today I'm super excited because I want to discuss with you some of the reasons why most poultry farms fail. Most people out there fear poultry farming because so many people started it and it failed. But honestly, there are so many reasons that can make your farm to fail. Some of us, we wouldn't be here if we were not just strong-hearted. We also failed in the beginning, but because of the love and the passion we have for poultry farming, that's why I am still here. Okay, now let us go straight to the point. Okay, the first reason why your poultry farm is likely to fail is biosecurity. Okay, now biosecurity is very important in poultry farming. Whenever you construct your chicken house, make sure that in front of that chicken house you put a provision of a foot bath, so that before someone enters inside your farm, the person must disinfect their foot before entering inside the chicken house. Because when that does not happen, it is one way that birds get a lot of chicken diseases, and chicken diseases is one of the reasons why most people's farms fail. Okay, once these birds are affected by these chicken diseases, sometimes you will not handle it, especially if you're still a beginner. So that is one reason why so many people's farms have failed. You understand that, you realize that most people are ignore biosecurity, so there's always free entry and exit into the poultry house, and time in, time out, birds are affected by these poultry diseases. That has really affected most people's farms, and it has led to the failure. Okay, and then another thing is poor feeding. Once these birds are not fed well, be it the broilers, be it the layers, trust me, the outcome is never correct. For the broilers, if you don't feed them well, those birds will not put on weight. So you will realize that by 6 weeks, the birds have not put on weight, and you cannot even sell them anywhere. That has discouraged so many farmers. Actually, that is one reason why in the beginning I left broilers. I remember I brought this batch of birds. They never grew because I had left the pellets, and I decided to feed them on concentrate. Honestly, the birds didn't grow, and it discouraged me a lot. So please, let us give these birds the right feeds and enough feeds. Now, if we come to layers, you realize these layers, if you don't feed them well, they will end up not laying at 18th week. So many of you are complaining that your birds are now 25 weeks, they haven't yet started laying, or they have started laying, but still the performance has not even reached 50%. It's just because you've not been feeding the birds well, or you've not been giving them the right feeds. There is also giving the right feeds, and you're not giving enough feeds. All this is not good. Okay, these birds must be given the right feeds, enough feeds, and in the right time. Now, when the birds start laying, if you're giving the birds feeds early in the morning by 6, make sure every morning by 6 a.m. in the morning you're feeding those birds. Make sure that because normally, like here, I feed the birds twice, at 6 in the morning and then at 1 p.m. That is what should happen every day. Birds should be given the right feeds, enough feeds, and in the right time. If that is not done, you realize the birds will not perform well. You will end up making losses, and at the end of it all, you will end up even closing the farm. Now, after feeding them well, those birds must be given clean drinking water. Most of us just think these are just birds and they don't need clean drinking water. Honestly, these birds must be given clean drinking water at all time. Whenever you enter the chicken house and the water is not there, make sure you add for them water immediately. For these birds to put on weight, they must drink clean drinking water. For these birds to lay eggs, bigger eggs, they must have drinking water at all time. So this is one thing that farmers must take into consideration if they want to prosper in poultry farming. But you realize that birds, sometimes you enter the farm and the birds don't have drinking water, especially farms that are managed by managers, farms that are left in the hands of workers. Okay, so those are some of the reasons why our birds are not performing well, why farms are closing down. And then another thing is the presence or availability of you, the farm owner. Okay, if you're never around at your farm, you don't know what is taking place inside the farm. Some of these workers, they care less. They've just come to work for their salaries. Some of them don't have the love and the passion for the project. So you realize you open the projects and you leave in the hands of workers. They will not, they will not manage the farm well. They will not give them feeds the way it is supposed to. And then at the end of it all, the birds will not perform well. So please, as the owner of the farm, find time to go inside the farm or to visit the farm. For those who don't have the farms where they stay, me here, I'm lucky because the farm is within my home where I stay. But for those who have farms, maybe elsewhere or in the villages, please find time to go and visit your farms to see what is happening there. In fact, if it is possible, try to work in the farm by yourself so that when those workers leave, at least you know how to train the new workers. You can see here, I do literally almost every work by myself. It's not that because I don't have the helper. I have someone who helps me at the farm. Actually, she does good work, but I just want to show you that as the owner of the farm, you must be dedicated to your farm. You must do all that it takes to make sure that you succeed. But all the things, if you leave it in the hands of the workers, you realize that you will not achieve that. So that is why some of your farms are failing and most of you are closing down the farms. Okay, and then we must also make sure that the chicken house is not congested. It's not too squeezed for those birds. Now, for a mature broiler, you need at least 7 to 8 mature broilers in 1 square meters. So make sure if you're planning for broilers, that is your plan. Okay, 7 to 8 mature broilers in 1 square meter. So make sure the broilers are not congested. When we come to the layers, you need roughly 4 to 5 maximum layers, mature layers in 1 square meter. So if the chicken house is too congested, the birds get stressed, the birds don't perform well. Whenever there's a disease outbreak, it spreads very fast. So the chicken house must be big enough, conducive enough. The aeration must be properly well. It should be well ventilated in a way that the birds are so comfortable. It should not be roofs that are leaking. The floor must be cemented. You've seen in my chicken house, if I show you, you realize the birds have scratched down a lot. That is not good for a chicken house. Make sure water doesn't pour inside that chicken house. If water keeps pouring inside that chicken house, you realize our birds will get a lot of coccidiosis. That is not good, and a lot of worms. So please, let us make sure that the chicken house is large enough for those birds. If you don't have enough space, please try to bring few number of birds which you can manage, which the space is enough for the birds. Let us not bring so many number of birds because we want so many number of birds, and yet the chicken house is small, and yet our space is not enough. Please, let us please consider that if we want to start this project and we want to be successful in this project. And then also, some of you beginners want to bring very many number of birds. If you're just starting the project, please try to start with few number of birds. If you start with so many number of birds, a person like me, I end up crashing in the beginning, because when I started with broilers, of which my interest was not in broilers, so I decided to shift to layers. So I decided to change to layers. So I started with a few number of layers. I started with 300 birds, but when I saw the birds performing well, I added 1,200. When these ones were just 1 month, I again added another 1,000. So those were a total of roughly 2,500 layers. And remember, I was a beginner, so this disturbed me in a way that the birds got sick. I lost over 700 birds, of which those birds ended up not performing well, and I made so many losses, but just because I was rushing. So when you're just starting, try to bring few number of birds, manage those birds, study those birds, understand the dynamics and the techniques of managing those birds. That is the only way you're going to be successful in this project. Otherwise, you will bring so many number of birds, the birds will end up not performing well, they will not put on weight, they will not lay well, and then at the end of it all, you're going to fail. Remember, when you bring layers and those birds don't lay for the 72 weeks, at least 72 weeks, just know that you're not in business. Some of you bring birds and they end up selling when the birds have just laid for 40 weeks. Some of you bring birds and the birds start laying well, but they don't even make it to 90% of laying. Guys, if we bring birds and they can't make to 90% laying, that means we are not in business. Those birds will not bring you some reasonable profits. So make sure that you bring few number of birds that you can manage, that you can at least, okay, do to your best. Currently, I have 200. Currently, I have 324 birds. They have so far laid for 57 weeks. But these birds have been doing well because at least I said I must do to my best. Remember, I made so many losses before, and this time I don't want to make losses. And at least now for the 57 weeks that they have laid, at least I've been able to get something out of these birds. But remember, this time they are few in numbers, and also I've made so many losses that I couldn't bring very many number of birds. So as a beginner, please try to bring few number of birds, okay? And then I think I've talked of most things already. And then also another thing is security. There should be tight security in your farm, because if we don't provide security, thieves will also come and steal our birds. These workers also do steal eggs. So please, all these things we must put into consideration if we don't want to fail in this project. Most farms have failed because of not considering these points. If we want to be successful, we should do to our best. We should at least do what is recommended. We should follow the guidelines. And then for those who will not be consistent with the herbal remedies, you must vaccinate the birds. Some of you don't even vaccinate the birds. Some of you don't even use the herbal remedies. So the birds keep on getting sick time and again. Those are some of the reasons why most farms have failed. Now, if you're going to be consistent with the herbal remedies, please try to make sure that you do enough research. Try to make sure that you watch videos. I have so many videos in my other channel about the herbal remedies. Please try to watch all those videos. In that way, you will keep the bird's immunity strong. Your birds will perform well. So those are some of the reasons why our poultry farms fail. Okay, now we are going to go inside the chicken house and do a few things, and then we shall call it a day. But if you're still new, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Let us make it to reach 1,000 subscribers, and I'll be so grateful. See you right back.
So for today, that is all I had for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for always coming back. Thank you so much for loving me. But please, if you're still new, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Let us make this channel to reach 1K subscribers, and I will be so grateful. And don't forget to tell me which country you're watching me from, and I will be smiling. See you next time. I love you all. Bye-bye.